Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Thanks for joining another session of uh, Brain Food. And today's session on dark UX, which is like dilemma of deceptive versus persuasive, will be conducted by Ikea. And interestingly, Ikea was our colleague. She was with Alibaba and Lazada for a long time, 9 years, 8 years actually, out of which 3 years were in Lazada. So welcome, Ikea, and just a quick note before starting the session that um, uh, if you are joining on Zoom, please keep your video and microphone switched off. And if you have any uh, questions, you can put it, if it is during the session, then you can put it in the chat. Or if it is at the end of the session, then you can switch on your, unmute your microphone and ask it. Those of you, and a lot of you will be joining on the live session. You can put your questions there and we'll take it up at the end of the session. Over to you, Ikea. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Let me try to share my screen at the moment. So here's my keynote. Sorry, I cannot see the play. Oh, okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes,
oh,
we can.
Wait. I cannot find my cursors. I don't know why. Well, wait a moment. Let me play it again. Yeah. So, okay. I don't know why when I try to share the keynote, I cannot find the cursors. Okay, I think that's easier to read now for me. Thank you for everyone joining this sharing session. And as you can see, today's our topic will be dark UX. And before I start, I also want to say that I'm not some expert about dark patterns. I'm only one of the designer who fighting with dark patterns. So I'm trying to learn more about it, and hopefully this summary of my learning will be helpful to some of you. And my background, I want to update some of my latest status. I just joined Coupon Taiwan as a step product designer recently for 1 month, very newbie over there. Before that, I also worked in a fintech company as a quite secret one as a product manager for 1 year. Before that, I worked in Lazada around 3 years, in Alibaba, Damai, Tmall around 4 years as a designer. Yeah, that's pretty much about me. Let's move on to the topic. Okay. Yeah, so today's trying to introduce dark patterns with this structure. Start from what is dark pattern. The goal actually is identifying dark patterns in our daily life and work, and we can recognize it. And the second part will introduce the impact, understanding the multifaceted impact related to dark pattern. And the last section will be how can we deal with it? And this is the suggestion for crafting a brighter future as a reference to everyone. Yeah, let's start from the first section. I believe many of you maybe already understand this topic pretty long time ago, but still let me briefly introduce what is dark pattern. And this was actually start from Harry Bricknell in 2010. He mentioned dark patterns and described it as a user interface that has been carefully crafted to check user into doing things, such as buying insurance with their purchase or signing up for recurring bills, etc. And after reading many of the definition of dark patterns, I still have a very deep question in my mind that how to define dark. Because many times that when we are doing growth hacking project in Lazada, for example, we are thinking that, if this design actually will impact only 2% of the users, is it considered dark? It's like, do we really have a very clear line between the definition here? And after reading plenty of papers and finding the reference, I think I find a better answer from the Sludge. This book from Songsten 2021 provide this quorum for us to understand from two dimensions. The first dimension is that is it helping user or harming user? And the other dimension is that we're going to facilitate decision making or impede decision making. So the dimension of help user and harm user, I feel like it's a better way to understand, to define that what is considered good. We still need to stand on the customer point of view to see that is it helpful or harmful. And I think that's clear. And also, if you look at this quorum, when we facilitate decision making intend to help users, it is considered not for good. And it's quite good. Like, for example, if you want to encourage children to eat more vegetables, we should put the vegetable in front of fries and they will choose more vegetables, right? And the second query is that if we facilitate decision making to do something harmful to user, for example, let them spend more money if they didn't want to, that will consider a dark pattern. And the third current will be that impeded decision making to help users. Because sometimes, even though we add on some friction, the intention could be helpful. For example, if you want to delete your email, then the email actually will come out with a dialogue asking you, do you really want to delete it? Yeah, it will increase the friction, but it's for good that you double check, and it's necessary sometimes. And when we consider impeded decision making to harm users, that consider sludge, that's the book talking about. And that the classic example from interface maybe will be when you visit a website or playing a game and you want to leave the page, and the page actually stop you from leaving the page. That will consider a sludge, and also that gaining the friction from what you want to do. Yeah, so that's I think the better understanding of the overall landscape of the definition part. And this question come out in my mind is that where it comes, why there's so many dark patterns. I believe that they already exist for a long time, right? And this paper actually mentioned the three sources of dark patterns. First one, deceptive practice in retail, research on nudge, and growth hacking. And let me take some example one by one. The deceptive practice in retail actually already exists decades. And I want to use a printer as a simple example. If you want to buy a machine, the printer machine actually costs, like, for example, 2,900 Taiwanese dollar. It's not that expensive, but if you really want to use a print surface, you need to buy all the colors of inks, and everything plus together is that cost almost twice. Yeah, so that's the hidden goals designed by these kind of products, and it's quite common in our daily life, right? Yeah, so that's also part of the source of dark pattern. And the other source is the research on nudge. This actually comes from the nudge. This book actually is a very good intention book, like trying to call out that we should use this kind of mechanism to push people to choose something good. For example, like organ donation, this chart, you can see that a very, very huge gap between those countries who use opt-in strategy and the opt-out strategy. It means that if you ask user to choose that, yeah, I agree to donate my organ, and the other option is that you already defaultly select agree, and if you don't want to, you need to raise your hands. That's very obviously it will encourage people to agree to the organ donation. And this kind of mechanism, if you use in a good way, is good. It's considered a good nudge, but it's easy to manipulate people with the other side. Yeah, in the other way. And next source is growth hacking. Growth hacking actually have so many dark patterns example I cannot count, but I trying to put one of the simple example. We also have some of debate when we are working on growth hacking project in Lazada. It's the button design. And this kind of, you can see A actually is I modify a stable button of this game. And the other side, the B actually is the original version from Pinduoduo, China. And they use the like breathing button with a finger poking it. If you want to guess which one have higher click-through rate, even though it's a fake experiment, but I think in our mind we know the answer, right? The B actually will have a better CTR, and yeah, that's quite obvious. But have we ever think about the reason behind? Is it because the B version have more attractive benefit to user? We don't think so, right? Because it's same. It's the same page, just the different of the button interaction of button design. Yeah, and yeah, when we think about this way, when I'm looking at my baby playing these toys, that there's so many like balls you can poke it, and there's so many buttons on it, and you can poke it, and it just fun, and you want to poke it because of the unconscious behavior, and this kind of how to say phenomenon actually is similar with the tricks playing in growth hacking sometimes, and the key will be the how to say the conflict will be that these kind of tricks actually not really helping user to make an informed decision. It just want to boost the conversion, nothing else. So that's the things that will be a challenge here for growth hacking. Talking about the source, then what is the how the dark pattern works and how we manipulate people from these kind of tricks? Basically, from choice architecture point of view, I feel like these two way to manipulate it actually is basically is a core. First one is shape the decision space and make the decision space smaller, and you can only choose inside of it. And the other way is that change the information flow and let people like maybe skip some of the information that try to manipulate users. So that's basically is the mechanism that behind the screen. But if you look at the types of dark patterns, there are already so many kinds of classification in the market and in the many research. After read through all of them, I still think that these 5 categories will be easier to understand. So I put here as an example, it's including nagging, obstruction, sneaking, interface interference, force action. Let me take some example to briefly introduce it. Nagging, a classic example is that this kind of dialogue will come out in many apps, asks you to open the notification, and you can only click not now. And you have no chance to really say no, because next time you visit, probably it will come out after 1 week. So this kind of design is considered nagging, that people cannot really say no to some of the surface. And sneaking. Sneaking actually have 4 subcategories: force continuity, hidden calls, sneak into basket, bet and switch. And I want to pick one of them as example is the bet and switch on this screen. As you can see, originally the price of the flights to Cuba is €299, and after you choose a time, and it will become like €792. Yeah, it's like why why so huge gap? So it's considered a bet and switch, and that you feel very good, very attractive at beginning, but after you jump into it, and you feel like, oh, it's a trick. Yes. So yeah, that's about sneaking. Next one is interface interference. This one also have 3 types, subcategories. Toying with emotion, like some of the copywriting will let you feel bad to that you don't want to say no, and like false hierarchy and the trick questions. And this example I put on the screen actually is from linking. Is considered a trick question. It's a very classic example that linking actually asks user to they use trick copywriting here, and that you feel that you just connect with the friends already on linking, but actually they will send the email from your name to invite all of your connection in your Gmail, like this example. So it will be very annoying. And the next one is force action. Force action, it's very easy to find plenty of example from Pinduoduo, China. I try to look for the example. I think that's the best source for me. And this is one of the mechanisms they play It's like if you want to win the free Huawei cell phone, you need to invite 9 people to use Pinduoduo. And on this screen, it looks like it's easy to complete, but actually it's very, very hard. And people will complain, and it's never to really get a free cell phone. And this is considered forced action because you ask user to do something to get the reward, and do something, force them to do something is considered forced action here. And the last one, I put it as a last one is abstraction. It includes a rock motel, and price comparison prevention, and intermediate currency, like the gamification. They will use some of the coins. You cannot really count how much it costs in different currency. But here I want to focus on rock motel as an example because I have very fresh story from my personal experience last month. Very fresh, very happy experience I want to share with all of you. The story actually starts from November 10. I received a push message that I've been charged again from ExpressVPN. And I'm very surprised because last year, same time, I already been charged and I canceled it on my PayPal. I thought it's done. But after 1 year, I've been charged again. I feel like, what? So I come to their website and search for how can I unsubscribe the ExpressVPN. I found this description on the Q&A. They say that, oh, you can only cancel it on the website. You cannot cancel it on the app, nothing else. So they didn't show any steps like how can I cancel it. I feel like, okay, very helpful. So I start to looking for the answer by myself. I jump to my subscription and find the it is subscription setting. Maybe it's here. And I click into it and feel like, oh, on this page, I think I found the right place. Turn off automatic renewal. I think after I click this button and the thing's done. But after I click it, I saw that, oh, turn off automatic renewal is, I think maybe I already success because they asked me to make sure I need to pay before a date to keep my subscription active. So it looks like already turned off, right? But if you look carefully, there's a button, turn off automatic renewal again at the button. So I feel like, oh, wait, should I click it again? So I click it again. And then the third page is look like this. It is subscription setting. And there's looks like a monthly plan below. I feel like, okay, maybe it's like I already successfully canceled it. And this is a new plan they trying to attract me to join again. But if you click a look up below, there's one more button, the same button again, turn off automatic renewal. After I seeing this, actually, my mind actually exploded, and I said, what's this? Who is the designer? Come out. And then after I clicking this, thanks God, I already canceled it. But actually, my mood looked like this. I'm very angry. It's like, what is this? This is so bad experience. After this journey, just like the saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I will never use this service anymore. I will choose other VPN if I need it. And from the research, we can also see that almost half of the people, 47%, say that they would never want to interact with this kind of brand forever if they use this kind of, if they experience on subscription issues like me. Yeah, it's totally understandable. So mad. Yeah. So after introduce what is dark pattern, let's jump into the impact. The impact part, I trying to borrow the 4 lens from this paper, what makes dark pattern dark. And it mentioned 4 lens here, including regulatory objectives, collective welfare, individual welfare, and individual autonomy. Let me introduce one by one. About regulatory objective. To simply understand it, actually, is that company being found. Yeah, so there's so many company actually use dark pattern, and then people like sued it, and then in the end they found many money. And this is one of the case from Epic Games. They actually create a game called Fortnite. I'm not sure everyone know it, but yeah, it's a quite popular game in US and kids playing it. And then the original version you can see on the top is that they put the undo button when they're trying to sell some of the digital suit for your character. You can say no, to click undo to say no. But after they revamped it, they moved the undo button into a very corner and merge with many secondary button below. And after this, actually, it caused many unwanted purchase, especially by kids. They don't know, they just click it, and then spend many money, and their parents get mad. So in the end, the company actually agreed to pay $245 million to refund the customers. So yeah, that's fair. Very worth it. And as you can see, if you look at the study in UK, more than 90% people actually believe. Previously, I mentioned the dark pattern from ExpressVPN, the unsubscribe, difficult to unsubscribe, this kind of experience. They thought it should be illegal. So I think this is a trend that people realize their right to fight for it, and it will become, company will really be founded under this trend. So that's the regulatory objective and the impact to the company. And the next lens will be collective welfare. Collective welfare actually have 4 different perspectives. First one is about harming the competition between into the market. This is the example from Microsoft Edge. They actually made the Edge browser cannot be uninstalled inside their system. So it's considered an unfair competition to other browser company, right? And in this paper, it also mentions that the key of this unfair competition is just it basically is because of they actually generate switching costs without an offsetting benefit to users. So when one of the company doing these kind of tricks, it's not fair to those companies working on something really helpful to customers. So that's true. It's harmful to the competition. And next perspective is about price transparency. I want to borrow the case from Amazon US. Recently, I'm working on the research of the overseas order. And when we're trying to search the order from US to Taiwan, and I see the order summary here, you can see estimated tax to be collected is $0. But if you click into the import charge below it, it will have a small description saying that actually this one includes the tax. So that's the tricky part. They actually hide the tax into the import charge, but they're still displaying the estimated tax over there, and that you misunderstand is tax-free. So that's the tricky part, and it is considered a price transparency example here. And the other perspective is about trust in the market. It's really harmful for trust in the market. I think this example is very clear. This is a research about the hotel booking websites, and there is showing that we have so many scarcity information on hotel booking. This one is from booking.com. I think probably you can recognize it. They're showing that only 3 rooms that at this price on our site. So that you feel it's almost gone. You need to purchase it now. And this kind of information, already 65% British people already thinks it's just a sales pressure. They didn't really think it's a real one. They need to count it. And 49% mentioned that if you use this kind of mechanism and put the scarcity information, they will count distrust to the company. And only 16 people still believe this kind of information. So when you're looking at this, you can realize that how harmful to the trust, because people they don't trust the information on the interface anymore if we keep doing this kind of way. So that's the thing. And the last perspective in collective welfare is the unanticipated societal consequence. This one is more complex that we cannot really predict. And in this paper, actually, they used the example from the US election. And this actually came from the Cambridge Analytica. Actually, they used the Facebook user data to influence the election. But the original idea of the Facebook user data is sales for ads. So I think they don't know it will become like this, and it is something that we cannot really predict and know what is the impact to the society. Yeah, And let's move on to the next stance, individual welfare. I think individual welfare, this stance will be very easy to understand by everyone because everyone is a victim. We have losing our money from dark patterns somehow. And yeah, that's pretty much familiar, and yeah, for me too. And the next perspective actually is the privacy issue. As you can see from 2010, the global ad market climbed from Big Five only 17%. But when you look at 2020, the Big Five companies actually climbed 46%, almost half of the privacy information controlled by these four companies. So that's a little bit tricky, creepy. Yeah, so that's the things we need to think. And the other perspective under individual welfare is the cognitive burden. To make it simple, just catch your attention and wasting your energy. Like this, people were arguing these kind of dark patterns online, and they spend their energy to blending this kind of situation. So I think that's the things that we don't like it, and still wasting our time, wasting our energy, wasting our attention. That's the things we also need to consider the impact. The left stance we can talk about is the individual autonomy. And I want to take the example of internet addiction, because this is I think also related to our kids. For everyone have kids, I think we're worried that people, for our children, after they grow up, they will use their cell phones 24 hours, and that it is quite become more percentage people getting addicted especially during pandemic. So that's also the perspective we need to consider, the impact that when we are doing so many design, trying to that user cannot leave us, and we are also in fact our daily life, our children. Yeah. So after talking about so many bad impacts, the answer is clear. We should get rid of it, right? Why we so struggle? Why the dark patterns still everywhere? I think the reason is also clear. Study finds up to 200% sales boost from pure absent minus. It means that the dark patterns, these kind of tricks we play, can really create so many profits. So how can we really get rid of it? So that's the hard part, right? So we need to move on to the our final section. How can we do? I cannot say that I really find a very good answer, but it could be a reference. Before I jump into the suggestion part, I want to introduce the player inside the ethic word who shape the ethic. Is that include three roles: individual design practice, organizational practice, apply ethics in a society. You can see the relationship between these three roles. But if we consider that, how can we do? We need to focus on the individual and organization, because we live in the societies. And that's the thing we can change, is about ourselves, and maybe we can influence our company. So I trying to break down the suggestion from this structure: organizational level, project level, individual level, and I'm trying to summarize the suggestion related to this level, and probably it's easier to apply it in our daily work. First level, organizational level, I from my understanding, the key will be redefine the value, including consider the ecosystem, count the intangible value like the brand value, the trust of your brand, etc., and believing the value co-creation process. Because, like, for example, consider your customer is part of the value co-creation system, and that's the way that we can shift our point of view from a business level, high level. And if we want to take some example, there's plenty of theories, but I want to borrow two of them. First one is the triple bottom line. It had mentioned in very long time ago, 1994. It mentioned when we run a business, we need to consider people, plant, profit. These three dimensions should consider together. And by Erica Hell, she shared the concept of design for triple storyline. And in this sharing, she's trying to put these dimension into the same timeline. So you can see at this from this chart, people actually are quite happy during the journey, but the company didn't earn any profit, and this kind of way is unsustainable. But if we put it opposite, and company earning so many money and people are suffering and just like using your service but really hate you but cannot leave you, this kind of way is uncool. And we understand the ideal things that we need to consider is something missing. Okay, the ideal situation is that we put the people profit plan together on the same timeline, and we consider all of the impact to these roles together, so to make whole things sustainable. So that's the core concept I've learned from triple bottom line, and I think will be really helpful for business for high level to think about our direction. And the next theory I want to borrow is surface dominant logic. Why I borrow this is also one of the ancient theory we have. And when I'm trying to find a solution to solve the ethical tensions, S&D logic actually pop up, because S&D logic mentioned the value co-creation concept and actually shifting the understanding, the definition of value. If we really consider the intangible value together, it will help us to jump out of the profit only, profit maximization, this kind of point of view, and help us to really build the sustainable business. And S&D logic, like this paper mentioned, it also can helping to moving value determination from the producer to customers. So that's the way that will be, I think, a good reference for us to redefine the value, how to define our value for the business. Let's move on to the project level. Smaller and easy to apply because we are not boss. Well, project level, I think the key will be align the goal. Align the goal, including shifting from single metric to multiple metrics. And the other is the short-term, long-term metric. We need to consider both. And last one is that focus on the sustainable growth rather than rapid growth. Sometimes like growth hacking will focus on rapid growth that for long-term is not going to measure. No one will measure it. So that's the blind spot. And let me take some example about the single metric. I think it's really harmful. From one of my learning, I want to take the example of feed. When I joined Lazada and in 2020, feed channel actually have a design that having a red dot over there forever. And it's quite annoying because if you click on it, you cannot make it disappear. It's still there. So it's that it's really, really annoying. So I discussed with my product manager saying that why we should have this, we should cancel it or adjust the logic. But my product manager telling me that actually they have a pressure that if they remove this red dot, people won't click it, and it will reduce the daily visit people. And actually that is one of the the most important metrics that at that time our big boss say that if you want to prove this channel is important to users, you need to get enough people visit every day. And this metric, single metric, actually lead to a weird decision over there. So it's a very clear example to see that how single metric will misleading some of the decision making. And from this paper, from Elbar and Murphy, they also mentioned that a single metric not only will ignore the important information, but also will cause the unethical behavior somehow. So that's the things that we need to recognize and trying to make sure we need to consider multiple metrics together when we're setting our goal. And the next perspective is short-term or long-term. I want to borrow this example from this is a website of a I just trying to read the article here, but they have so many advertising. You can see that this advertising is really ugly. You need to flip it like 3 page, and I can read the content. So from this design as an example, maybe it have a quite good like interaction because people need to scroll down to read the message and read the content, and it will interact with the advertisement. But it didn't mean that I really get interest and will convert. So if you look at the short-term metrics, yes, there's so many exposure and interaction rate. But if you look at long-term, people probably won't visit this website anymore because they hate this kind of experience. Yeah, that's quite clear for us. And to avoid falling into these traps, I think it's very important to evaluate A/B tests with at least one long-term impacts metrics. So that's the suggestion here. And let's move on to individual level. For individual level, I think I put it more simpler because every method here is quite simple. But after reading so many papers, I realized it's really helpful. And in my daily practice, I think it's really helpful too. First one, the method we can apply is the benchmark study. Because when you're looking at all the design already on the market, and if you create something that really different, very different from the market, and that's the signal that you need to take a look. Is it a dark pattern? So if we really are looking a lot of benchmark and understand how people using the similar features, then we can create the safer design without dark pattern. And the other thing is a critical debate. I think it's very helpful, and I believe in that we maybe still using this kind of method. We will have a team critic and giving advice, and this also will help us to remove dark pattern from our design, because your coworker will tell you that why you use this, and it will reduce the personal bias. And the last one, the user test, I think quite simple. Just get feedback from users. Like Coupon also have done so many user tests, and it's really helpful to get the direct feedback from user to understand, recognize the dark patterns. Maybe it's over there. They actually will point out for you. And the other things is some of the tips as a reference for us for individual level can take a look. First one is the use the data as a weapon. For example, if you really launch something with dark pattern, we can try to get the data and prove that actually it's harmful. And second one is call them out when someone raise the suggestion with dark pattern. Just say that no, this is dark pattern. And the third one is like say no. Just you need to say no. Maybe sometimes it's really hard, but yeah, it's our job. And fourth, actually, I think it's quite easy to find different options to solve the business goal without dark pattern. So we should always try that and learn from the experience of our daily life. I think also is a quite good tips, because when we trying to use our service and live like a human being, it's also helpful for us to build the mindset and the sense to notice that this is dark pattern as a user point of view. So I think that's some of the tips that we can take a look and maybe try to practice it in our daily work and life. So here's the summary of the suggestion. I won't go through it, just easier for everyone to take a look of the overview. So I had already 40 minutes. I want to close my sharing with Albert Einstein saying, not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts. I think it's very important for us when we are doing data-driven design, and we should always think about the message beyond the data. Yes, that's all I want to share today. And here are some reference for everyone. And if you have interest, you can take a look up on more detail of the paper and research. Yeah, that's all.